Hello, you are currently listening to Crayfish in Brazil, and with me always is my friend Space. And this is episode 4, talking about the cartoon shows that start with the letter D that got 0 votes. First one we got is Danger Mouse, and goes in tier.
Solid I don't really have a ton to say about this one, other than that it was kind of boring.
Yeah, old show, pretty basic plot. I guess I could understand how, people would like it back when it was first airing, but nowadays there's not much to it. It's fine. It is an acceptable show about this mouse agent guy fighting the evil Toad and his robots. Next is Dastardly and Muttley in their flying machines, and this one is pretty bad.
It's Hanna-Barbera, but even by Hanna-Barbera standards, this one is it's down here. It's in the same tier as Captain Caveman.
So what if we had Wacky Races, but it's only Dastardly and Muttley, and they have flying machines now. The title kind of says it all. It was already a pretty bare-bones show to begin with, and now they just stripped everything else away from it that made it charming, and it just feels like this manufactured Hanna-Barbera.
You're trying not to say slop, aren't you?
I am. I'm trying not to say. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
This is bona fide Hanna-Barbera sludge.
Next is Dave the Barbarian. It's not very good. This is one that I watched when I was a lad, and I remember it being an acceptable show, but rewatching it, there's really not much to it at all. It's just like one-dimensional cartoon characters and a one-dimensional premise of like a parody of fantasy medieval tropes, and it does have some, gross out humor. None of the jokes landed. None of the characters are that likable. Not much here at Dave the Barbarian on the Disney Channel in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I'm not a big Dave the Barbarian guy. I do remember this one airing. I remember watching it as a child. Time has not been kind to it.
Yeah, this is another show, I guess, like Brandy and Mr. Whiskers, where it was a cartoon that existed, and there's not much else to it.
There was kind of a lot of those in, the early, aughts Disney Channel era. I don't think that they had, a ton of strong programming back then that holds the test of time.
Now we have Day Job, and this one is pretty good. This is a indie, short, animated show about a group of employees at a bowling alley. It's like a mockumentary style. See, I think that I didn't really like it at first that much because it was too relatable as someone who has worked at a bowling alley and is uncertain about the future. And so it was too real for me to fully enjoy, but it is funny. It does have some good moments. It can be real when it wants to be. It's pretty good. Okay, now we got The Day My Butt Went Psycho. Even just reading that title and just being aware that this is a real show that exists is kind of painful. It goes in garbage easily.
Yeah, are you surprised by where this is? This is, we've touched before on, the phenomenon of beaver slot, but I think that this is what I would consider to be an act of war against the United States from Canada.
Yeah, this might be the prime example. Just everything horrible about those types of Canadian animated shows, just in one thing, in The Day My Butt Went Psycho, about a sentient butt who comes alive. I can't even talk about the premise. It's God.
Yeah, this kid's ass is the wacky, sidekick character of this show. Would you believe it if I said that there's nothing funny in this show? It's all bottom of the barrel and then under the barrel, the dirt beneath the barrel. In terms of humor and subject matter, the animation is it's flash animated. It's borderline Go Animate tier.
Somebody would make this up as a joke when coming up with a parody for Canadian cartoons. But no, it's real. And the only reason that I even knew that it existed was because whenever I would search up episodes to watch the show Psych, which is an infinitely better show, then this would come up because it also has the word psych in it. I had to be aware of its existence. I was forced into knowing that this show was real, and I hate that. Okay, Death Battle. I'm putting this in Yeah, that's right. This show counts on this tier list, I guess. I mean, it's an original animated series on YouTube. I guess you could, I guess it qualifies, so it's up here. Watched the Goku and Superman episode from like 2013, whenever that was, the one that looks like it was a PS2 cutscene. I don't even remember who won. I think it was Goku. I could be mistaken. But, I mean, it was alright.
Yeah, I think that a lot of power scaling discussions are kind of stupid. Death Battle is obviously a show that is just about that, and that's the whole show. I know they've had some dumb calls over the years, but one episode we watched was alright, but it was also animated like a PS2 cutscene.
It was from 2013, I'll give it that. Apparently it's gotten much better. They do their research, you know. I gotta give them credit for that. They definitely look into all the abilities that a character has at their disposal, and that stuff is interesting. But as for power scaling debates, in the words of Stan Lee, whoever wins the fight is the person that the writer wants to win the fight. If Goku was facing up an ant, and the writer just wanted that ant to win, then the ant would win.
Honestly, I think an ant has a pretty good shot against Goku.
I do too. I'd see that. I think Death Battles, they should make it one ant versus Goku. Let's see who wins. And it's gonna be the ant.
I think that if you put Goku in like a Leningin versus the ant scenario, I think the ants win every time.
I mean, yeah, at some point, there is a number of ants that could kill Goku. We just gotta find out what that number is, and then get all of those ants.
I'm saying, at most, 3 or 4.
Next up, we got Defenders of the Earth, and this one is going in good. This is such a good show.
This is a great show. It's got the feel of a lot of like the most insane action figure type shows. Like the actual content of what happens in this program is pretty amazing. It also gets bonus points for just having like some fucking insane characters as the protagonist. You've got, I don't know if he's public domain or not, but you've got the Phantom, you've got, Flash Gordon. It's an all-star lineup, and man, this show is a trip from beginning to end. The actual, villain plan is just insane in the episode we saw.
It's the Phantom, it's Flash Gordon, it's Mandrake the Magician, and then Mandrake the Magician's best friend and fighting companion named Lothar. And all of them are public domain characters, and it's those 4. They also have, each one of them has like a child, and they also make up the gang. So it's these 4 public domain characters and their 4 children, some of which I think actually exist canonically in whatever media they are originally from. It's cool in the story, because, every show like this, they have, the teenage character that's just there because they have to have, a child teenage character in there for, demographic reasons. But it makes sense in this show why they're there. They incorporate them into the story nicely. They have something to do. Like, the B-plot of the first episode is, Flash Gordon's son, escaping from prison. But it is absolutely insane. Got great action, great characters. They are just utilizing public domain characters in a way that I think public domain characters need to be utilized in, where it's just them teaming up to fight their evil public domain villains together, and it's such a great time.
The villains are great too. You've got Ming the Merciless in this joint. He's green to show that he's evil and to make it less of a yellow peril kind of situation. He is a great villain. All in all, highly recommend this show. It is one of the best shows of its kind.
Okay, next is Descendants Wicked World. And I don't know, I'm putting this in pretty bad. I'm pretty sure it's based off of a live-action Disney show, but this is an animated series, and the episodes are only 2.5 minutes long, so I'm just confused on what this show is even supposed to be. Do I need to know the characters from the original thing first? Because it seems like it, because I don't know who these guys are, but it's just them and doing a little story for the episode that they're in. I don't know. Maybe if I knew the Descendants lore, it would rank higher, but I don't, so I didn't like it at all. Next is Detention. Not very good. It's just about a group of kids in detention. I don't really like the art style. The characters, for the most part, are ugly. The only one who isn't awful to look at, I think, is the main character who just kind of looks like if you took Penny Parker from Spider-Verse and then just made like a early 2000s American cartoon version of her with 100% less sauce.
Yeah, these characters all look like clip art. You ever do like a PowerPoint presentation for like fucking school in like the early 2000s and you go look at the clip art? That's what every character in the show looks like. It's not a very appealing style, I don't think. Next.
No, I have something else to say about Detention. There's this one character whose entire personality trait is that he likes Batman. Like, no, like they don't even like censor it or make a parody of it, just straight up Batman. In fact, the first 3.5 minutes of the first episode are about the Batman kid having like a daydream or whatever about what if he were Batman, and like stops his like teacher who looks like Two-Face. It's just straight, they just use the licensing. They're like, they paid for the licensing and they're gonna use the hell out of it. And this kid, he isn't even an important character. He isn't even like fifth billing in the show, and the first 3.5 minutes about him and his stupid Batman fantasy. I hate this guy. But yeah, there we go. That's Detention for you. Okay, next is Dick Figures, and it's pretty bad. This is a like early 2010s internet show, web series about these stick figures. It's very, very dated. They use the, like the rage comic memes from back then. The sense of humor does not hold up well. I didn't like anything about it that much.
Yeah, I've actually got some nostalgia for this one. This was, I want to say, like very early 2010s. This show has aged, I would say, I would say like milk, but it's worse than like milk. It's, I guess, like opening like a time capsule, but you open the time capsule and there is just like a rotting, like dead body in there. Like this is the equivalent of that. It is ironically funny due to how like unfunny the references are, due to being as dated as they are, like Forever Alone and that kind of shit, like awful rage comic humor. That part is kind of ironically funny. So I have a little bit of love for Dick Figures, but it does definitely belong down here in pretty bad.
I guess the reason it's not in garbage is because at least it's not as bad as something like Control-Alt-Delete.
And I mean, the characters are like stick figures, but for what it's worth, they're animated well.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but it's like, yeah.
Okay, now we have Dino Saucers. I'm putting this one in It's a pretty obscure, old show about these, what are they even? Like, are they dinosaur aliens?
Yeah, another like very obvious attempt to cash in on like simultaneously, I think, the Ninja Turtles craze and like kind of weirdly like the Transformers craze. There's basically like Autobot dinosaurs and Decepticon dinosaurs.
Yeah, like two factions of these like anthropomorphic dinosaurs who are like at war with each other on Earth.
Yeah, so it's basically just taking two cartoons that were really big, kind of trying to mash them together, and it's not really as good as either of them, but it is pretty entertaining for what it is. There's enough ironic enjoyment to be had in it to like at least bump it up to It's not sitting at pretty bad or like not very good.
The villains were kind of funny.
The villains were kind of funny, but it is also very much like, we have Ninja Turtles and Transformers at home.
Yeah. Now we got Dinosaur Train. And this one is also going in A tier along with Dino Saucers. Just a preschool PBS kids show about some cartoon dinosaurs. Gonna learn some dinosaur facts. It does have like a weird premise, and they're like, we want to show different dinosaurs from different time periods. How are we gonna do that? Oh, I'll tell you how. We have a time-traveling train, and so we're just gonna go back even further to even the more from an entirely different era, just cross between times to go visit them and learn some cool dinosaur facts about them. I guess the creators of the show, they just wanted to make it educational about dinosaurs, and at the end you got a bit with a live-action paleontologist who teaches you about the dinosaur facts, so that's cute, you know? Kids learning about dinosaurs. Here's the show for you.
It's nothing too remarkable just because it's like a CG animated like baby show for literal infants. But I do at least appreciate that the show has like an educational element to it. I think it's cool that it teaches kids about like different dinosaurs and like actual dinosaur facts, rather than like every carnivore and every herbivore are just like friends and they all get along. There are shades of that in this, but at least there's like actual dinosaur facts being taught. It gets bonus points from me for that, but is probably right around where it belongs. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not really pushing the envelope too much for a kid's show, but it's not like bad or insufferable either, which for like a preschool show is pretty good.
Alright, Doc McStuffins, I'm putting it in pretty good. This is another like preschool show, but for a preschool show, and it was, it was pretty good. A girl who's a doctor for stuffed animals, but the characters were likable. It had themes and character arcs, you could say, even. It was, I guess it was just better than I expected. Better than your usual preschool show. It's still a preschool show, so I didn't really get anything out of it. But as far as preschool shows go, this one's above most of them.
It's a preschool show, but like we said about Dinosaur Train, it's not insufferable. So grading it on a curve for what it is,
Yeah.
it's definitely like head and shoulders above a lot of other offerings for like the same age demographic. It's not gonna like rot your brain out watching or make your children into horrible people, so it's pretty good.
Alright, Dogs in Space, not very good. This one, I don't know what the target, it feels weird like talking about like two preschool shows and putting them above the neutral line, and then going to Dogs in Space, which is like clearly a kid's cartoon, but just straight up not very good. I don't know. I just thought the characters were like bland and boring. The dogs, and they act like, I don't know, like Facebook memes of dogs. That's how this show feels. This show feels like people who look at like those dog Facebook memes for 40-year-olds. That's what it feels like to me.
It's not very appealing. Didn't really do anything for either of us. Yeah, it's Dogs in Space.
Oh, here we go. Doki, pretty bad. This is a preschool show, and this one I just felt like my brain was rotting while watching it. So there you go. Here's a bad example of a preschool show that I would hate to watch, like if I put it on for a toddler and I had to be in the same room as them while this was going on.
It's not quite Coco Melon, but it's certainly not any of the higher tier preschool shows either. Like, even grading this on a curve, this belongs in pretty bad.
Yeah. I was glad when the episode we watched was over. Alright, Donkey Kong Country. Now, I'm putting this one in not very good. This show is pretty funny, ironically, and it's got that that motion capture animation for some of the scenes, and the other scenes they just look like action figures being moved around. It's a very bizarre experience, especially with a character that is as well known as Donkey Kong and Company.
This show is actually like one of the most contentious shows between Brazil and I, because I disagree with this ranking completely. I would put this in at least pretty good. I am the biggest Donkey Kong Country fan in the world, and I'm so upset nobody voted for it. In fact, if I had more slots to vote with, and this was like a top 10 ranking instead of a top 5, I would have voted for it. I really like this show. It's not unironically good, but there are elements of it that are. Namely, Donkey Kong's fucking singing voice. For some reason, they decided to just give him the pipes of an angel. There's also just a lot of really wacky, weird shit in this show. I think this show is hilarious, more oftentimes unintentionally than intentionally. I really fuck with like this early, scummy TV CG, and just the way that the show looks, and how all the character models are, and everything about it. I really like Donkey Kong Country. This one gets the highest honor I can bestow, just a high level of recommendation. But with the caveat that most of this show is not unironically good, but I do really fuck with the music in this show. At least any song that's sung by Donkey Kong. Diddy Kong's voice is like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, I don't like Diddy Kong's voice. Looking at this show and listening to almost all of the characters just gives me a headache trying to watch a full episode of this. It's really like not what you would expect at all from a show. If you said like today, like, oh, they're making an animated show about Donkey Kong, and then if it turned out to be this, you would be like, what the actual fuck is Nintendo doing? The reason that it's placed this high is from the ironic enjoyment that it does get out of me, and the memes that come out of this show are quite good, but watching a full episode of it was not a fun experience for me. Alright, next is Dora the Explorer, goes in, we got a lot of preschool shows in this one, don't we? But yeah, it's Dora. Everybody knows Dora. Like 10 years ago, if you asked me just name any preschool show at all, the first thing that would come into my head would probably be Dora, just because everybody knows it. But, you know, looking back and, like, watching a full episode of it, even though it, like, in your head, you just come up with it as, like, the generic kids show for preschoolers, it's actually kind of a unique premise, the way that its theme is that it takes place in, like, an old computer Flash game. You don't really think about it that much, but it's, like, just a kid's adventure Flash game that takes place in an old computer, and, learn some Spanish along the way. It's got, you know, colorful cast of characters. None of them are really unlikable. It's only an ad because it is just a preschool show and there's not that much to get out of it. But as far as preschool kids shows go, this one, it's not bad.
As the world's biggest fan of the Dora the Explorer movie, I was very disappointed to find out in the show that the monkey is not voiced by Danny Trejo. That really let me down.
Double Dragon. It's pretty good.
This show has fucking nothing to do with the game it's based on, but it's kind of amazing for it. The plot of the game is more of just like a suggestion. The first episode of this show, at least from what we watched, is so fucking insane. Why don't you tell them a little bit about it, Brazil?
Well, it's very over the top, and it's these two twin brothers. They're fighting side by side against, like, evil martial arts, like, dark forces that are just trying to commit crimes and, like, blow shit up, especially their martial arts temple where they train at. But the main villain of the show is one of the twin brothers, just wearing a disguise. They got separated at birth, and one of the twins just decided to become evil and devote his life to gaslighting and terrorizing his twin brother for, like, no real reason. And he's got, like, magic powers, like mystic powers. It's so crazy and fun, and it makes for, some of it is ironic, some of it is unironic, but it's still a very entertaining show, that first episode that we watched.
For sure. This is a primo 90s action junk food cartoon. I really enjoy this one.
It was way more entertaining than I ever would have expected from one of these, like, 90s video game adaptation shows.
It's a lot better than Captain N, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now we got a more modern video game adaptation show, Dragon Age Absolution. And guess what? It's not very good. It goes in the same tier as Donkey Kong Country, but this one doesn't have any ironic enjoyment out of it. This one is just a plain boring show. It's a Netflix show of Dragon Age Absolution. I've never played any of the Dragon Age games, so I don't even know if these characters are even in the video game, but this gang of characters, it almost feels like one of those Dungeons and Dragons type shows of just a party of heroes of different races and classes, and the main character is this rogue girl with nary a personality trait other than she's stoic and edgy, and she's like, I gotta take out these villains. She's so, like, broody. She does not make for a charismatic lead. It was very boring for what's supposed to be like an action show.
I'm not a big Dragon Age fan. I think the resources that went into this show would have been much better suited to making a Mass Effect show, but even if they'd done that, I'm not confident they would have made a good one.
The finger on the monkey's paw curls, and they give you a Mass Effect Andromeda show.
Oh no!
Alright, now we have Dragons Riders of Berk, and I put this in It's the characters from the How to Train Your Dragon movie. It's a show that takes place in between the first and second movie, and it's just, they got their dragons. What now? It's just them training their dragons, doing dragon stuff. I'm having a hard time summarizing this show. but it wasn't that interesting, really. The only thing it's got going for it is its characters that you know from a better movie, and just kind of riding the coattails off of that. But here's a show about them.
Yeah, I think that most DreamWorks shows that are spin-offs of their movies, with a few exceptions that are more interesting, and we'll get to those, can just be boiled down to as characters you know from a better movie.
All right, now we have Dragons, the Nine Realms, and I'm putting this in not very good. Now, this is a show that takes place in the same continuity of the How to Train Your Dragon movies, except it takes place in modern day, with this group of teenagers who discover dragons after dragons haven't been around for, thousands of years. And it's not very good. Not a single likable character. As far as I know, people from that are actually fans of the How to Train Your Dragon movies, they also do not like this show. Like, people even like the writers of Berk show, like, way more than they like this. I saw somewhere somebody said that this show is the opposite of fan service, where it feels like every decision was made to piss off fans of the original movies. And watching the first episode, I can see where they're going with that, because it doesn't look very promising. I don't know why this was made, but here you go. Oh boy, now we have Drak Pack, and it's pretty bad. This is a very old cartoon about this group of teenagers that can transform into, one of them's a vampire, one of them is like a werewolf, and one is Frankenstein's monster, and it's them doing like cool teenager things, but they're monsters, and that's as far as they went with that premise. It's very bad.
One thing that I thought was really interesting and funny, but also insufferable about this show that played a large role in it being down this far in the tier list, is how uniquely terrible the audio mixing in it is for no reason.
What a day! Careful with that bag, Frankie. It's got eggs in it.
That should speed up breakfast. Our eggs are pre-scrambled.
Boy, I sure do envy Big.
But it is so hard for most of it to even tell what the characters are saying, because the audio mixing is so atrocious. It is just, like...
It gave me a headache.
It's fresh garbage. I really think that you could, like, play extended, like, sections of the show to just, like, torture people. Like Brazil said, it gave me a headache as well. The show is migraine-inducing.
I'm trying to think of anything good to say about it. I guess it just didn't offend me enough to get put in garbage, even though it might even belong in there. But this is one of the lower-ranked pretty bad shows, I would say. And here comes another pretty bad show. It's Dude, that's my ghost.
Dude, that's my ghost.
It's a wacky show about this teenage boy. He's friends with a ghost, and the ghost is super cool, and they go on ghost adventures.
This is another, I would say, lower ranking pretty bad show. It's, I think the only reason it's not in garbage is because The Day My Butt Went Psycho is just everything this show does, but slightly worse.
Yeah.
It's very similar in terms of presentation and feel, as you can just tell by looking at the two shows visually with your eyes. This is also bottom of the barrel, sweatshop made, national export Canadian beaver slop.
What's the matter, bro? You don't like doing wacky ghost pranks on Old Man Jenkins across the street?
The ghost character is insufferable. I do think that the title is probably the funniest thing about this show. Just being like a dude, where's my car reference that doesn't really work like more than a decade after the fact.
I almost said that this show's title was Dude, Where's My Ghost? But no, it's Dude, That's My Ghost.
Dude, where's my ghost?
Dude, where's your ghost?
If we didn't already have a D thing to recommend, that would be the recommendation. Dude, where's my car?
I completely forgot the recommendation. Detective Heart of America, The Final Freedom. That's the recommendation here. This is a movie made by Jason Steele, aka Film Cow. It is free on YouTube. It's an hour and 15 minutes long. It's like live action, but it's sort of puppetry. Not like traditional puppets, but like the main character is like a statuette of an eagle that he bought from Hobby Lobby. and he just moves it around and they dub voices over them, and all the characters are like that, but it is hilarious. It is one of the funniest, if not the funniest movies I've ever seen. Me and Space quote this thing all the time, ever since we watched it 10 years ago when it first came out.
What happened?
You're dead. You died.
Oh my god, are you?
Hello, Heart of America. I am Jesus. And yes, I'm a merman.
It's about this eagle statue who's very patriotic. He represents the most patriotic soul that America could have, and he has to save America after it was erased from existence by an Ouya video game.
We love this movie so much that we have done a real-life pilgrimage to like several of the filming locations in this movie and gone out of our way to do that in real life. It's hilarious, but it's also unironically a very smart movie and a very well-made film with themes and shit, which is crazy based on everything else we've told you. I still think about the ending to this movie sometimes.
Yeah, it has a hidden meaning that you do not even understand unless you like watch through the entire credits and really pay attention to things.
Yeah, it is unironically a movie that makes you think, and I still think about this movie quite a lot, which I think is like the mark of like a really, really good film.
A really good comedy, I would say. It is both really stupid and really smart at the same time.
This movie, I think, had the same effect on me that watching Doctor Strangelove did, which is fucking crazy.
Alright, now we got Dudes of Hazmat, and I'm putting this in good. This is another indie show. It's on YouTube, made by Drew Langlois, about these two hazmat guys who have to go on bizarre and dangerous, deadly hazmat missions to fight cultists or weird monsters, but it has such a unique style of comedy, like dry humor, and the animation style is, it's rotoscoped.
It's very, very dry, sort of surreal stoner humor, but the dialogue, the deliveries, the animation style, all of it just combines into an incredibly hilarious show. I think Drew Langlois is probably up there as one of my favorite animators on YouTube. He has a pretty long space typically between his uploads. But I am a really big fan of this and his other long-running series, Staying Positive in the Apocalypse. I think both of those are probably two of my favorite web animation series. He's a really great creator, and he's also pretty underrated, so check him out if you haven't heard of his work. The way the show is animated is terrific. I love the main duo, Theo and Grubbs. They're both great characters. It's a really, really, really good time. It's also got a banging intro.
Yeah, it does have some just good music in the show. Alright, now we got Dumb and Dumber, the animated series. It's not very good. It's another cartoon based off of a Jim Carrey movie. It, like the title says, it's dumb and dumber. It's two idiot protagonists. It's not funny. Characters aren't likable. It's just a generic 90s animated show. Another
sort of Bill and Ted-esque situation where it's an animated spin-off to a comedy movie of the era, only infinitely less funny than the movie it's based on. I was a pretty big Dumb and Dumber fan as a kid. Never saw the cartoon, and I'm glad I didn't. This is hot ass.
I never watched the Dumb and Dumber movie. If it's anything like the show, I didn't miss anything.
It's much better than the show. It's bizarre that they even made a children's show of that movie. I probably had no business watching it at the age I watched it. Yeah, it has like none of the charisma or like comedic talent of like the two main actors. They of course did not pick up for this like low budget, easy cash grab, terrible animated comedy series. It has none of the humor. I don't know why this was made, and I wish it wasn't.
Next is Duncanville, and I'm putting it in This is another one of those like adult animated comedies akin to Family Guy, just about a dysfunctional family, but the focus is on the teenage son as the main character and his family and friends. And it definitely has some of that, adult animated comedy, Family Guy knockoff, like we have Family Guy at home type humor. But the thing with this show is I feel like it alternates between funny bit to not funny at all. It just alternates between funny and not funny, like every scene, every bit. So I have mixed feelings about it, and so it ends up in this tier.
Yeah, this is the perfect tier for it. For a show that's like half funny, half really bad. It just kind of averages out and ends up in eh. This is like a perfect mixed feelings show. It'd be much higher if all of it was like the half of it that's good. It'd be much lower if all of it was like the half of it that's terrible. It's
Yeah,
right where it belongs.
I could splice up like a YouTube compilation of all the good jokes and then all the bad jokes from the same episode and compare them, and one would be much better than the other. Alright, now we're finally getting into the E's. That's right, we're going to cover the D's and E's in this here episode, starting with Earthworm Jim, which isn't very good. Based off of the video game, of course, Earthworm Jim, that I've never played.
I've played it, and it's good. I think it's a real shame that the show is as bad as it is, because it has one clip from it that has been making the rounds, and that clip is really hilarious, and made me want to watch more of the show.
Is it the president bit? Oh, wait, no. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let me play.
Yeah.
Typical low-life thugs.
Also, you know what they call cheese in Paris?
What they call it?
Le fromage.
Le fromage. Man, it's like those French guys have a whole other language.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that scene is so good, and it has nothing to do with Earthworm Jim at all that I completely forgot it was even from this show.
We quote that one bit all the time.
In fact, if I'm ever doing a John Travolta impression, I'm doing my impression of Jeff Bennett doing his impression of John Travolta.
That clip is so good that it probably raised the show up a letter grade.
Alright, next we got Eckhart, and I thought it was not very good.
Yeah, disappointing. Not a very good mouse type show.
No, I was expecting like Redwall or something, but no, it's just this like a boring mouse kid who lives on a farm with his mouse family and mice friends, and there's an evil mouse type fellow, this evil mouse type villain who's like a con artist trying to scam them and whatnot. And this mouse kid has to stop him. Yeah, it's pretty boring.
Normally, you get a mouse type show like Redwall, and it's, crazy. There's like stakes and stuff. It's wild. This is no Redwall, and it's no Secret of Nim. This is kind of just like really boring to watch. Nothing about it really grabbed me.
So we have Redwall at home, like straight to video.
Could have been worse. It wasn't like offensive or anything, but it was like unexciting enough that it put it not very good.
Eek the Cat. This one is pretty bad. It is very ugly. It's like a Garfield, but I want to say Garfield, but on some sort of drug. I don't know. It's just a purple cat who really likes food. Oh boy, that wacky cat. He sure does love to eat food, yum yum. But the human characters, they're mean and they won't give him any food. Oh no, trouble's brewing for old Eek the Cat.
This is just purple Garfield. Next.
El Tigre, Adventures of Manny Rivera. I'm putting it in which I don't know if that's controversial or not, but it's, I remember this one from when I was a kid. Does it hold up today? Well, that's debatable. As for the writing, I don't know. Say, if this were any other show, it would definitely go lower. But because the art style is so unique and based, it belongs up this high.
Yeah, it has an absolutely killer art style, and to be honest, I'm really shocked. This is another one, kind of like Cat Dog and Shock Zone, that I'm really shocked got 0 votes. Everybody remembers El Tigre. It was like around when it aired.
Yeah, I guarantee there's someone out there whose favorite cartoon is El Tigre.
Yeah, I feel the same way about this that I do about Shock Zone. I feel like this deserved, at least 1 vote. Couple. But, yeah, it's got a great art style. Character designs are rad. I really love, a lot of this guy's other work, like Book of Life and stuff. It's,
Jorge Gutierrez.
Jorge Gutierrez is a based guy.
Yeah, he's a great artist. Yeah, he's got a great style, a unique style. Anything you see by him you can tell that it's his, and I really appreciate that. The characters themselves and the premise, they're all right. I don't have anything against it, just it could have been better, in my opinion. But great art style. Moving on to the next one. Elaine the Bounty Hunter. I'm putting this one in pretty good. It's another indie show on YouTube made by Gooseworks, who you may know as the creator of The Amazing Digital Circus. Elaine the Bounty Hunter, it only has like 2 or 3 episodes in it, but for what it's worth, it's pretty good. Gooseworks has a very good style. This show uses unique shapes, like geometric shapes, to do all the character designs. It's very bizarre. The very surreal humor from Digital Circus is in here, and there's no dialogue, like there's no voice acting, so it doesn't have that sort of cringy Glitch Productions YouTube pilot feel to it. It's just 100% just wacky cartoon indie animated fun on YouTube with a great visual gags, great comedic timing, great music, great visual style, and so it's all the way up here and pretty good.
I think it's really interesting, just Gooseworks' like
journey,
and I was also going to say the ceiling and the floor of what they're capable of, because I think that when they're at their best, they're really good, but they also have shows that they've made that we simply do not care for. I'd say it varies wildly in quality. I think they've definitely gotten better over time.
For the longest time, Elaine the Bounty Hunter is what I knew Gooseworks for. I was familiar with Gooseworks before Digital Circus even came out. So it's been wild to see, like, imagine just some random YouTube animator. Like, imagine if, like, Drew Langlois suddenly became, just created a show, like, Dudes of Hazmat, and then Dudes of Hazmat, it just suddenly becomes the most popular animated show for teenagers in the entire world, and you see, like, Dudes of Hazmat merchandise in every GameStop in America. That's what it's been, a surreal experience, to say the least.
Absolutely.
Next is Eleanor Wonders Why. I'm putting this in A tier. It's another PBS Kids preschool show about this rabbit girl and her animal friends. They're just discovering stuff in their garden. It's got a nice art style. It's just a cute little preschooler show. Not too much against it.
Yeah, this show's cute. It's not offensive, which is, for a preschool show, that's really, really good.
Yeah, its graphics aren't like they don't give you a headache like Cocomelon. It's just a simple, grounded cartoon art style. This is something to put on for your kid, and it won't give you a migraine. It's just a chill little show. Now we have Elliot from Earth, and I'm putting Elliot from Earth in pretty good. And even though it's only in pretty good, this is the one from this episode that I am the most excited to talk about, I think, because this show, it came out at a weird time during the pandemic around 2020, where it just got put on HBO Max to die in the dust. It got like zero promotion for it. And if you looked up Cartoon Network shows, there it was, even though it only premiered on Cartoon Network, I think once, and only once. You see the promotional art for it, and it doesn't look impressive. I'm going to show a picture of it right now just so that you know what it looks like. Like, it just looks like a generic, cheap little show about a kid and his dinosaur friend. Like, what is that? But then you actually watch it, and it looks beautiful. You can tell that it's made from like the same team behind Gumball. Gumball, takes place it's got the photorealistic backgrounds or whatever. This one, they went all into the sci-fi fantasy concept. The premise is just about a boy and his mom get transported to Earth. By the way, the first episode of the show is the title Wednesday. I alluded to it in the previous episode. It's this show, and I like it a lot. And they just get transported to this space station and have to interact with all these different weird alien races. And it's just like such a nice little show about this kid and his family just trying to live in this space station. It does something weird where try to think of like any show just about like a 10-year-old boy as the protagonist, and they're not just like an insufferable, annoying, troublemaking piece of shit monster. This show, the kid is just a well-adjusted, nice guy, and it's a breath of fresh air just seeing him just like make friends with people on this space station.
I had to think about it for a minute. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh wait, but he's technically like 100, so fuck. Never mind.
Yeah, what do you like, Johnny Test, or what, the kid from Dude, Where's My Ghost? Or
Dude, where's my goat?
I said it again. I said, Dude, Where's My Ghost?
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, it's really fucking hard to do. I think most like 10-year-old protagonists, even Ben 10 in the original show, he's kind of a fucking dick.
Yeah,
There's a real absence of like 10-year-olds that behave like not monsters. Which, to be fair, if you're a 10-year-old, it's kind of hard not to behave like a monster. But yeah, props to Elliot.
I mean, the dinosaur character is a little annoying just because, you know, he's kind of dumb. Like, he's the dumb comic relief guy, but he's not that insufferable, especially compared to other the dumb comic relief oaf type characters from any other show that you could probably think of. And he's probably the only reason why it's down this low in pretty good instead of good. I can't in good conscience put it above that just because of the dinosaur character. I don't really like him. But everything else about this show does a lot of creative things with the sci-fi concepts. I love it. It looks great. It's got great music. I love the music from it, and I highly recommend it. It gets the Brazil seal of approval as one of the best shows in the pretty good tier, because I've seen every episode of it. This is one of those shows where I watched the first episode from doing this tier list, and then just fell in love with everything about it, and then watched the entire rest of it, and wish that it got more than one season.
The show does unfortunately leave off on a bit of a cliffhanger, and it's probably never going to get another season, which sucks. But it also gets the space seal of approval. I hadn't seen this show until we did the tier list, and I thoroughly liked watching it. It's a good show.
It never got a second season, and probably never will, but I do feel like just the fact that it even got one season at all to begin with is very special.
This show's the king of the pretty good tier.
Yeah, it's definitely one of them. It's very underrated. Oh yeah, and by the way, now it's time to do the recommendation for the thing that starts with the letter E. So it's going to be one per letter. And this one is Elliot Goes to School. This is a YouTube animated series, animated entirely through Gary's Mod, like stop motion in Gary's Mod, I guess you could call it. It was made by Kitty0706, famous for doing the Team Fabulous 2 video, who died in 2015. Rest in peace, Kitty0706. But this show, I think I liked this one better than Team Fabulous 2, because it is a show, it takes place in a high school. The protagonist is just a self-insert of the creator of the show, but the thing is, he made this while he was in high school as a teenager, and so this is maybe the only example, at least the only one that I can think of a show about teenagers in high school, written and made by teenagers in high school. So it just feels really real. Just this was the high school experience in the early 2000s, but sort of a parody of it, because it's got Gary's Mod animation and just the bizarre sense of humor of everything. All of the characters are insane. The fact that it's made by an actual high schooler just makes it feel really sincere and genuine. And I think that a lot of the jokes do hold up really well just because of how genuine it was.
Yeah, Kitty0706 was a hell of a creator. I wish he was still around. This is not as famous as like Team Fabulous 2 or, you know, a lot of his other TF2, you know, Gmod stuff, but I do think that this is probably secretly maybe the best thing he ever made.
I'm gonna elite hack you.
Alright, now for your warm-up. How do you say shoes in Italian? Elliot, do you know this one?
I make sure to watch it like at least once every year or two. It's got a lot of great moments in it that I quote from it regularly. And honestly, it probably could qualify as a show on this tier list. And if it did, I would put it in pretty good. But I didn't put it on here, 'cause, I don't know. And I do wish that Kitty0706 was still with us. Rest in peace. Now we got The Emperor's New School. And what I put, it's eh.
You threw off my groove.
The show is carried by characters that you know from a much better movie. It's like, what if it's Emperor Cusco, but he's in high school?
What if he had to go to high school and the prom's tomorrow? Yeah, the show's just carried by Kronk. The one good thing about this show is just more Kronk with Patrick Warburton being like a funny character. But it's still like nowhere near as good as the movie. Obviously, the animation, like most of these other Disney shows, like the Aladdin show and plenty of others I'm sure we'll talk about later, is significantly downgraded from the source material. No surprise there. Yeah, this is just a solid A-tier show. Nothing too offensive, but nothing to really like about it either.
Epic Tales of Captain Underpants. It's not very good. It's of course based off of the books, which made it into a movie, and here it is. It's got the same sense of humor as the books. I mean, if you like that sort of thing, made for a younger audience. As far as the show goes, it wasn't very interesting. And I read the books, when I was a lad, so I used to be a fan of it. And I did see the movie, and the movie wasn't bad. But the show is not as good as either the books or the movie. I think I could safely say that.
A lot of shows based on things that are not as good as the thing that they're based on. This episode, you could just kind of feel that they were phoning it in. It doesn't really have the charm of the books, the funniness of the movie. It doesn't really have anything. It's just, hey, give me a Captain Underpants with nothing.
Nothing? Now we got Erky Perky.
Fucked up in the crib drinking Erky Perky.
This one is pretty bad. It's about these two gross CG bugs living in a kitchen. It's really gross and it's not funny and it's bad.
Weird looking show. It has an art style. I believe this one is foreign. Is this one French or am I wrong?
I think it's French.
Another curse where I'm not sure if it's that the show is bad or if it's that the dub is bad, because the voice acting certainly did suck, and I'm not sure if it may have been funnier in the original language, but the version that we watched with it was definitely like pretty bad material. It's not really funny. Characters weren't really likable. Not that great to look at.
No.
There's nothing good about this show, so that's why it's in pretty bad.
And next up we got Evil Con Carne, which is pretty bad. Everybody remembers Evil Con Carne as the show that premiered alongside Billy and Mandy, but then they dropped this one because everybody liked Billy and Mandy way more, and nobody liked Evil Con Carne.
I have some nostalgia for this, but most of that nostalgia is actually for Billy and Mandy. This is definitely the lesser of the two shows, hence why they dropped it so they could just do full episodes of Billy and Mandy without Evil Con Carne. I don't think any of the jokes from the episode we saw held up, which I think at least for Billy and Mandy, like, there are still parts of that show that are incredibly funny to me. Namely just Grimm, and then also fucking Irwin. But Evil Con Carne, I think that they may have made a good call when separating the wheat from the chaff and deciding to just do a full Billy and Mandy show.
I mean, especially considering nobody voted for this one.
Time has not been kind to Evil Con Carne. There's old friends and new friends, and even a bear.
Okay, last one for this episode. It's Extreme Ghostbusters, and it's not very good.
What if we did a Ghostbusters show without the Ghostbusters? At least like most of the original cast.
Yeah,
They're still there, but
I think there's only one actual Ghostbuster from the original one, and also the secretary lady who I forget the name of. But I think that's it.
Yeah, Janine. But in like a mentor role. So they're not like active Ghostbusters or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised people didn't vote for this one, because I do know people are thirsty for the goth chick from this. I think that the one episode we saw of this was not very good, but I've seen other bits of this just because I'm a bit of a Ghostbusters fan. I know that there are episodes of this show that are good. The one that we saw was not really, and I think not very good overall, judging it for like the entirety of the show and not just the highlights. Not very good might just be where it belongs.
I didn't like any of the new characters they introduced. They all just feel like one-dimensional tropes to me, at least in the first episode. I didn't like any of them. I didn't find it very interesting. And there you have it. That's all the shows that got 0 votes that started with the letters D and E. Make sure to like it and leave a comment if you have any differing opinions with anything that we said, or if you just have anything to say at all, just so that the algorithm won't hate me. And I'll be seeing you next time